Basketball fans, welcome back. So in the previous two videos, I've talked about Trae Young's future with the Atlanta Hawks. I talked about his future being uncertain and the possible trade destinations that Trae Young can fit in. So this video is going to be different. So this video will be focusing on the 5 trade ideas to keep Trae Young in Atlanta. So Atlanta they're looking to go towards going on a full-on rebuild, but there are some trades that they can make to keep Trae Young in Atlanta. If they are not able to trade away Trae Young and they have not found any suitor that can take on his huge $136 million contract for 3 years, that's something that the Atlanta Hawks can go for, and these are viable options. So Trae Young's future with Atlanta is hanging by the thread after the Atlanta Hawks traded away DeAndre Hunter and Bogdan Bogdanovic. But DeAndre Hunter has been balling out for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So Atlanta's front office faces a make or break off season, and here are 5 trade ideas that can keep uh, Trae Young happy when he's playing in the Atlanta Hawks. So Atlanta Hawks are flirting dangerously close to a full-on teardown, and Trae Young's patience has been wearing thin. So shipping out DeAndre Hunter and Bogdan Bogdanovic at the trade deadline didn't exactly scream, we're trying to win now. So sure, Dyson Daniels has been a revelation as the NBA steals leader, but even he can't mask the fact that the roster needs a serious overhaul if it's going to keep Trae Young happy and in Atlanta. So Trae has been the face of the franchise since he stepped in the league, but the whispers of him wanting out are getting louder with every loss, especially with the whole situation with how the transaction has been in the league. You can see some players are like, giving those warning shots through their agents. So the Hawks have been they have been availed with 2 options: either lean all the way to a full-on rebuild and risk losing a superstar, or make aggressive moves to build a contender around him as soon as possible. And Trae Young has been that guy that wants to compete. He wants to go back to the Eastern Conference Finals, similar to what happened in 2021. I remember this because this was a very magical season for the Atlanta Hawks. They were able to push the eventual champions, the 2021 champion Bucks, to 6 games. And also along in their playoff run, they're able to beat Sixers team, which was that placed first in the East, being led by Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons at the time. So there are a couple of people or players that the Atlanta Hawks can go for to keep Trae Young in the Atlanta Hawks. So for starters, going to start off with Zion Williamson. So Zion Williamson has been that guy that his career has not panned out the way many people hoped it to be, and he has been one of the biggest disappointments, especially landing fast at the 2019 first round. So he's the top pick. So Zion Williamson, he's received by the Atlanta Hawks. Zion Williamson to the Atlanta Hawks. Then the New Orleans Pelicans received Onyeka Okongwu, Terrence Mann, George Niang, a 2029 first round pick from Atlanta, and a 2030 first round pick from Atlanta. So when healthy, that's a massive win. Zion Williamson is an unstoppable force, averaging 25 points, 7.3 boards, and 5.2 assists on 57% shooting from the field this season. So his ability to bulldoze through defenses and command double teams who will take a ton of pressure off Trae Young, giving the Hawks a lethal inside-out combo. So the issue, of course, is Zion's health. So he missed like significant time again this season, playing only 24 games, raising legitimate concerns about whether he can even stay healthy on the court long enough to justify the Hawks giving up multiple first-round picks and young talent. So from the Pelicans' perspective, this package isn't bad at all. Onyeka Okongwu is a defensive-minded center who's flashed enough upside to be a starter. And Terrence Mann is a do-it-all glue guy with playoff experience. So throwing in George Niang's shooting and a couple of future first-rounders, New Orleans Pelicans are getting a mix of assets that could help them rebuild and move on from Zion Williamson. So for the Hawks, the gamble is clear. If Zion can stay healthy, there's a threat in the East. They are going to be a threat in the East. So if not, this could be an anchor contract that sinks them deeper into mediocrity. So still, the thought of Zion catching lobs from Trae could be too tempting to ignore. So this is a very huge gamble for the Atlanta Hawks, getting a guy like Zion Williamson, somebody who's not at 100. He's been played on minutes restriction. At some point, his contract had a weight clause, so it's going to be very difficult for him. So the first guy the Atlanta Hawks can go for is Zion Williamson and pairing him alongside Trae Young. Then in the second guy, we have Domantas Sabonis. So after that trade that ended up where we ended up seeing De'Aaron Fox going in from the Kings to the Spurs, Domantas Sabonis, his future can look uncertain, but this situation, the Atlanta Hawks can go ahead and take advantage of it, and they can be able to get somebody who's very elite at the center position, especially at the front court. So the Atlanta Hawks received Domantas Sabonis, and the Sacramento Kings received Clint Capella through a sign-in trade, Zachary Risacher, George Niang at 2029, first-round pick from Atlanta, and at 2030, first-round pick from Atlanta. So Domantas Sabonis might not be the flashiest name, but his fit with Trae Young was almost perfect. So averaging 19.5 points, 14 boards, and 6.2 assists with the Kings this season, Sabonis' passing and versatility will open up the Hawks' offense in a way Clint Capella simply can't. I feel like Clint Capella, he peaked when he was playing for those Houston teams with Chris Paul and James Harden, where they unlocked him. And since his time, he got traded to the Atlanta Hawks, he's been very quiet and we've not been able to hear anything about him. So Sabonis is lethal in the high post, capable of facilitating dribble handoffs or punishing mismatches down low. So pairing him with Trae Young's shooting and playmaking could transform Atlanta offense into one of the most dynamic offenses in the league. So for the Kings, moving Sabonis isn't ideal, but getting back Clint Capella in a sign-in trade isn't terrible either. So like I mentioned before, Clint Capella, he got unlocked by James Harden and Chris Paul in that 2018 season where they won 67 games. And Clint Capella has never been the same since because he's a type of pick and roll guy. He's that rim running big man who got set up for a lot of lob passes. He caught a lot of lobs. He led in some point in field goal percentage because of the shots that he was getting. So Capella's rim protection will help the Kings' shaky defense, and Zachary Risacher is an intriguing prospect who could blossom into a valuable wing. So this move isn't as risky as swinging in for Zion Williamson, but it addresses multiple needs: rebounding, interior scoring, and most importantly, another playmaker to pair with Trae Young. So Sabonis will not be a top 10 player, but his skill set is a seamless fit next to Trae Young. So this is not a bad trade, and for both sides, I can say they're getting what they wanted. So the Atlanta Hawks will move on from Clint Capella and somebody who they thought that could be a very versatile person at the front court, but he's not turned out to be Houston Clint Capella. And this iteration of Clint Capella has been the worst. So, hey, it is what it is. To pairing Trae Young with Domantas Sabonis, it looks good on paper. Yeah. So the next guy, we have Lauri Markkanen. So Lauri Markkanen is another guy that I've been following in this with his run in the Utah Jazz. And the Atlanta Hawks will receive Lauri Markkanen, and the Utah Jazz will receive Onyeka Okongwu, Zachary Risacher, Terrence Mann, and a 2029 first-round pick from Atlanta. That's their own pick. Lauri Markkanen's breakout has been one of the surprises of the season, with him averaging 19 points, 6 rebounds per game, while shooting a scorching 42% from the field. Even though Markkanen is having a down year compared to last season, the idea of adding that kind of shooting and floor spacing to a Hawks team built around Trae Young is almost unfair. So Markkanen's ability to stretch the floor will open driving lanes for Trae Young and Dyson Daniels, giving Atlanta a pick and pop threat where they're severely lacking. And it's an offensive upgrade that could immediately boost the Hawks' ceiling in the East. For the Jazz, this trade brings back a solid package headlined by Onyeka Okongwu, who fits their timeline alongside Walker Kessler and Keontae George. Zachary Risacher adds up to some wing depth, and Terrence Mann is a proven contributor who can fill multiple roles. So the 2029 first round pick might not seem much right now, but if things go south in Atlanta, that pick could become extremely valuable. So Utah's front office has shown a willingness to cash in veterans for future assets, and this deal aligns with our strategy. So for Atlanta, it's a no-brainer if the Jazz are willing. Markkanen's shooting and scoring versatilities fit perfectly alongside Trae Young, and his ability to guard multiple positions gives Quinn Snyder more flexibility in the lineups. Then in the next guy we have Miles Turner. So Miles Turner has been playing for the Pacers, and the Atlanta Hawks will acquire Miles Turner through a signing trade. So Indiana will receive Onyeka Okongwu, Terrence Mann, and a 2030 first round pick from Atlanta. So Miles Turner isn't the star name that will have the Hawks fans racing to the ticket office and getting season tickets, but is exactly the kind of defensive anchor that the Atlanta Hawks need. So Turner is putting up 15 points and 8 rebounds and a leading 3 blocks per game this season. And his ability to stretch the floor, shooting 37% from 3, makes him a perfect fit alongside Trae Young. So Turner's rim protection alone would transform a Hawks defense that have been struggling all year. So for the Pacers, getting Onyeka Okongwu back makes this deal interesting. So Okongwu is younger, cheaper, and has shown flashes of being a switchable defender who can protect the rim. Terrence Mann's inclusion feels like a throw-in, but his toughness and playoff experience can't be overlooked. The 2030 first-round pick gives Indiana some additional long-term flexibility, which is always a plus for a team that is stuck in the middle. So if this deal goes through, the Hawks get a floor spacing rim protector who doesn't need the ball to make an impact. So letting Trae do what he does best, running the show. Turner's age and contract is reasonable, making him one of the safer options on the table. So it might not be the blockbuster trade that shifts the balance of power in the East, but it's a smarter move that could keep Young satisfied for at least another season or two. So that's the deal. So we've looked at adding Lauri Markkanen or either Miles Turner. So these two deals, maybe the Atlanta Hawks can be able to go ahead and swing for that, especially with Miles Turner. It's a sign and trade. So hopefully that team friendly contract, even if it's going to be a max deal, can be engineered and put up. Then the next guy we have RJ Barrett. So RJ Barrett, he got drafted in 2019 together with Zion Williamson, and he went to the New York Knicks. Then he got traded to the Raptors. So the Atlanta Hawks will receive RJ Barrett, and the Toronto Raptors will receive Caris LeVert through a signing trade, Terrence Mann, a 2029 first round pick from Atlanta, and a 2030 first round pick from Atlanta. So, I mean, the Atlanta Hawks are feeling like those first round picks, especially 2029 and 2031. Anyway, it is what it is. So, trading for RJ Barrett feels like a swing for the fences move for Atlanta. So, Barrett this season, he has been averaging 19 points, 5.4 rebounds, and 2.8 assists per game. They just don't jump off the page, but his two-way potential and ability to create his own shot could be exactly what the Hawks need next to Trae Young. So Barrett is not a sniper from deep because he's shooting about 33% this season, but he's a capable scorer who can alleviate some of the offensive burdens from Young. And his defensive versatility will also be a major upgrade on the wings for Atlanta. So for the Raptors, this is about resetting the timeline and gaining flexibility. Caris LeVert's expiring contract gives them some cap relief, and Terrence Mann is the kind of role player who can thrive in Nick Nurse's defensive scheme. So the two first-round picks offer additional ammo for the Raptors going on to the retool, and the Toronto's stuck in the middle right now, and moving Barrett for a package like this might help them pivot more defensively, decisively. So the two first-round picks offer additional ammo for the Raptors' ongoing retool. Toronto's stuck in the middle right now, and moving Barrett for a package like this might help them pivot more decisively. So for the Hawks, Barrett is a gamble on potential and fit. His inefficiency and streaky shooting are real concerns, but if Atlanta believes that he can thrive as a second option. This trade could be a game changer. Adding a wing with size and defensive upside might be the move that finally convinces Trae and the Hawks that they're committed to winning. So it is what it is. So those are five guys we've talked about: RJ Barrett, Miles Turner, Laurie Markkinen, Domantas Sabonis, and Zan Williamson. I can say the Zan Williamson one is a huge gamble, but all these other four guys are actually quite solid. And if the Atlanta Hawks change their mind and focus on going ahead and contending, those are the four guys they can be able to target. But it's a long shot because we've looked at Trae Young's dissatisfaction with the organization. But hopefully, if they're able to make a good signing or like a good trade package, they can offer a good deal, which is something that I wouldn't advise because you can see the amount of depth that they're giving out because they're receiving one player and they are giving away a ton of assets. They're giving away for that Zion Williamson trade to trade for Zion Williamson. They're giving out three rotational players and two first round picks. That's a lot of that. That's an overpay, as I can say. Then you can see they're giving away like a lot, even in that potential Domantas Sabonis trade package, giving away three players, two first round picks. It's crazy. It's crazy. Even in that Laurie Markkinen trade, three rotational player, one first round pick. Miles Turner. For Miles Turner, you can see they've only fielded one first round pick and two rotational players. So if they can be able to get like a good deal and finesse that team that is going to go in the deal with them, that can be a good thing. Then you can see in the RJ Barrett one, they're giving away two first round picks and two rotational players keys to the team. So hopefully the Atlanta Hawks can get a right deal to make sure that even if they're not going to extend Trae Young, but at least give him something, give the man something to go ahead and be able to contend. Because the other contenders, the other teams in the East are swinging up and going in on good deals and transactions to make them competitive. But that whole giving away DeAndre Hunter like that, and he's right now balling out for the Cavs, that one can really put him off. But anyway, it is what it is. So do drop me your comments down in the comment section what you think about these trades. I mean, do they make Trae Young feel happy being in the Atlanta Hawks? Do drop me your comments down in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe. I've been enjoying a lot of the support I'm receiving on this platform. It encourages me to make these types of videos. But anyway, it is what it is. So I'm out. Peace.